Hello, こんばんは。皆さん、John です。Windy City Origami no John です。Alright, hey everybody, this is John from Windy City Origami. Thank you for joining. We are going to be folding a squirrel today. 今日リスを作ります。This is a very fun one. It comes complete with 2 arms, 2 legs, a really cool looking face, and I love the tail. It stands up really beautifully, and it folds nicely as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is pull up my overhead camera here, and we're going to pick out a piece of paper. I'm going to fold with a 24 centimeter sheet today. I believe that's this size here. So just grab out a sheet of paper that is a good size for your squirrel, and we'll go ahead and get started. A perfect brown color. Okay, so for this one, let me just go ahead and pull up the diagrams here. All right, wow, that's really tiny. Let's go ahead and move that over to the side. Let's make it a little bit bigger for everybody. All right. And that's a good enough size there. Okay, so first things first, we're going to have the colored side face up. Zoom in here so everybody can see. First step is to just fold it diagonally. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fold the paper diagonally. And unfold. Okay, now this squirrel here that I have was folded out of a 15 centimeter piece of paper. So it's going to be a little bit larger when we do this out of this larger piece of paper, but that's not a bad thing. So you can obviously fold this with a 15 centimeter sheet of paper. It all depends on how small you want it to be. 15 centimeter is definitely possible. You could even go smaller. The ears and the eyes would get a little bit tough. So now what we're going to do is rotate it like this, and we're going to fold it again on the other diagonal, but we're just going to press right in the middle. I'm just going to create a little reference. So get that fold going and crease it down in the center. Okay. Now step 3 is to take the top piece and fold that down and do the same thing. Just create a small little reference crease. So come to the middle and just make a little reference right in the center on that line, as you can see. Okay, so step number 4. Now we have our reference up on the top. Well, we're going to fold the bottom side up to that line that we just created and create another reference. So create a small little reference here, just right in the middle, just like we did. And step 5, now as you can see, we're taking the top piece and folding that down to the latest reference that we made. So we're creating a lot of little reference folds here. So fold down to that one that we just made and make a small little reference there. Now keep track of this one, okay? That latest one that we just made, because we're going to go once again from the bottom up to this one. And create yet another reference fold, okay? So now that we have this one down here on the far bottom, we can now fold the top down all the way to that last reference that we just made. And then fold it all the way across. Okay? And now what we're going to do is turn the model over. Okay, so now it's white side up. And from here, what we're going to do is fold both of these to the center and then back up again. Okay? So we'll fold one, and then we'll fold on the other side. Just like so. Fold both on the right and the left, and then unfold. Okay. So now step 10. Okay. So now, as you can see, it's a little bit confusing to know what's happening here without looking ahead. So let's look ahead at the next step and see what's happening. As you can see, we're opening the whole thing up. So in the back, just pull that whole thing back forward. And now, as you can see, if you push right here, it creates a nice little collapse down. Isn't that pretty? See how that does that? So that's step 11. That's going to bring you to this step. So as you can see, you're pushing down right here, and then it's collapsing. Just like so. And now in step number 12, we are just folding the angle bisectors on the left and on the right. So go ahead and do that. Fold on the right and also on the left. All right. And these are going to be unfolded then as well. Okay, so that completes step number 12. Step number 13 is we are folding this whole flap over here on the right, fold it over to the left, and then we're going to squash fold it down. So you're going to kind of open it up on the inside, and then the paper is going to get squashed down. Okay, so now on step number 14, we're going to do the angle bisectors, the left and the right. And this time it's on the bottom. So fold that over on the right side. And we'll fold the same thing over on the left side. Okay, and then unfold. And step 15, now what we're doing is the standard kind of creating a bird base. And essentially, if you're not familiar with this, you fold up to where those lines landed here. Fold up and no further than that. And what happens is this will open up. And you have to get to right to that point where it comes up here. That's the tricky part. If you go too far, these sides will come in past the middle. If you don't go far enough, there will be a big white space in the middle. So make sure you get that fold done very precisely as possible. So you have as little white as you can get there in the middle, little middle spread. Okay, so that's step 15. Step 16 is to fold this little triangle down. Okay, fold that down. I hope I didn't go too fast there. So fold that down. And then step number 17 is to fold all of that over to the right. Now, usually there's a bunch of repeats. And let's see, sure enough, repeat on the other side. So if you can remember here, we're folding this over, opening it up, squashing it down. We're folding on the right side, folding that into the middle, like this, and also on the left, that into the middle, and then opening it, and then folding it up. And again, it helps to kind of lift the paper up a little bit to get that line going. You just want to start it in the corners is really the best kind of to start it right in the corners, and the rest will find its way. And it comes from a lot of experience. The speed comes from a lot of experience Fold that up just like that, and then we're going to take the top and fold it down, and then fold it over to the left. Okay, just like that. And now we are on step number 19. And as you can see, this whole piece here now is going up to the top. And in step 20, we are turning the model over. Okay, so we'll turn the whole model over, just like so. And now we're doing this folds to the center, so angle bisectors to the center. One on one side, and do the other one on the other side. Just like so. And those are going to be unfolded. Okay, we are cruising. So that's step 21. Now let's just jump ahead here. So this model has 71 steps, so I'm imagining we're going to stop around step 35 or so. But we are on step number 22. And as you can see, we are opening it up over to the right, like this, and then putting our finger in, and we're squashing it down. Now, one side is going to squash down all the way on the left, and on the right is going to be some funky, you have a little white little triangle sticking out on the bottom right. But it's going to look like that. And now we're going to pretend that there's paper here and fold it over. But how are we going to do that? Well, let's fold the one on the left first. That one's easy. This other one now, we're going to imagine that there's a line coming up here. If you look all the way up at the top, right around here is where it's going to be matching up. So if we kind of use that as a pivot and then fold this over, we can kind of experiment with where this is supposed to go. So what we want is this to be matching kind of on the other side. So the tricky part is knowing where does this little edge land, where does it end up. So what we can do is look at over here on this far left over here, this corner, when we fold it into the middle, that far corner there, when you fold that to the middle, it ends up right here. So this tip also needs to end up right here. So when we fold this over, you're going to see that this is going to line up, and it's going to go, that tip is hitting this tip right here. And this other paper here should be following the middle line. Come in like this. See how that's coming into place? So essentially all you want to do is move this tip to match this tip right here, that corner right there. As soon as you find that, go ahead and fold it down. Okay? Just like that. Let's see how that goes. Okay, and then unfold. So it's fold and unfold. All right. Step number 24. I see somebody joined. I don't get any information on who's watching, but feel free, if at any time there are any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to help out. So we are on step number 24, and as you can see, we are now taking this paper here and doing a petal fold up. So we want to locate this line right here. This line comes up and hits, the edge right here. That's going to be one key point, and that's going to go a valley fold all the way across over to the other point here. So that's what we're going to start. So kind of fold it up a little bit, and then make sure this middle one hits the middle line, and we can kind of crease on the inside to that point. And then open it up and do the same thing on the other side. It should now go all the way across. If we open it up, unfold it, you should see that line is going right up to where this interacts with the edge. And as soon as you get that, we'll go ahead and look at the next step. Step number 25 to see what it looks like. Okay, so this is going to come up. This is going to flatten down all the way across on the left. And this is going to flatten down on the right, just like so. Now, as you can see on mine, my paper is kind of crumpling up over here on the right. You see how that's happening? So if that happens on yours, that means that this line was too far down on the right side. So what we need to do is open it up a little bit. So pull it up just a little bit to get that to spread out a little. So play with that on the right side if it didn't go exactly the way that you wanted it to. And sometimes you'll see like paper crunching up in here, or you'll see like a wide open space here, or they'll almost be overlapping. Just make sure that you're going directly across. That's the key there. Okay, so that completes step number 24. Step number 25 now is folding this little triangular piece directly up, and you'll see there's some white paper behind. There's already a little reference there. Leverage that reference and fold it over. Just like that, and then it's going to get unfolded. And then this whole piece right here in step 26 is getting folded behind, and that piece is going now inside. Okay? So now step number 27 is folding this whole piece over here over to the right. Okay? Just like so. Now in step number 28, we're going to repeat everything on the other side. So if you recall, we're going to fold this over to the right, squash, fold it down, and squash, fold that down. And then what we're going to do is fold this over to the right. From the right over to the left. Get that to go in place. And again, this corner right here is going to touch the top here to get the right angle. And go ahead and fold that down. Crease it really good. Open up. Now we need to create a valley fold from this point all the way over to this point. So we're going to get it started in this corner. I'm going to fold it up and try to get as accurately up as I can. And then the middle will line up with the middle. And if you can get one and the middle is lined up perfectly, then the other should just go straight in place. You need two points to create a line. So you create that one on the right side and then match it up in the middle. And now you've got one on the right, and that line now continues all the way over to the left. And then this comes down like this. Now, I'm having some open, see my white paper in here? This may have happened to you already. If this happens, you need to go up further. The further up you go, the more the sides will close in on each other. Okay, so if I just fold up, make a small little tiny adjustment, I'm talking like a fraction of a millimeter here, and apply that all the way across into the corners. Now what will happen is it'll close in all the way, and that white gap will disappear completely. Okay, and it's really sometimes all it takes is just a fraction of a millimeter to be off. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to fold this flap up, match it behind, and we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to take that flap and fold it, mountain fold it inside the model. Okay, And then last but not least, we're going to fold this over. Take one layer and fold it over to the left. Okay. So now we're on step number 29. Okay. This is a great pausing point, but since we're flying along here and we're doing so well, we're going to just continue on here. The head is a little bit trickier than the rest, so we'll spend a little bit more time on that on Saturday. But we will continue forward here from step 29. So in step 29, we're folding this top piece, and there's only there's two layers here. So it's just the top layer that's coming down as far as it can go. So it'll open up all the way and then come down. Okay, and then fold that back up again. Now in step 30, we're turning the model over. Okay, so now it's going to look like this. This will be down. Okay, so in step number 31, excuse me, this is up. So this paper is up from before. And now in step 31, we're taking this small little layer up here. There's one piece of paper. We're going to fold that over from the right over to the left. Okay, just like so. And then in step 32, we're going to take this bottom piece and fold that up. Okay, in step 33, you can see there's a small little gap, okay? So just a little bit above where this flap would go down all the way, a little bit above, we're going to fold it down. And what it's going to give us is this little shape. Zoom in here. It's going to look like that, so you can have a little bit of a triangle portion on the left side. You see how that looks? That's step 33. So in step 34, as you can see, there's that little triangle. And what's happening now with this triangle is it's being valley folded over to the right along that line. So it's going over to the right just like this. Okay? And in step 35, we're taking that whole piece now, including that little triangle that we just folded over, and the whole piece, and folding it over to the right. And that little clip is going to stick in there on the right side, okay? Now we're going to repeat on the other side. So if you remember what happened here, we folded this over to the left. Well, before it was over to the right. And then this came up. And then this came down a little bit to create that lip. And you've got the reference down below. And then this little tiny piece is going to fold up. And then you're going to fold it back over to the left, and that piece is going to tuck in. Just like so. Okay. Step number 37. Okay. So this one, there's two valley folds, okay? And it doesn't mention much else about them. So let's try to figure out what's happening here. So they're just valley folding permanently down. So one is going right on top of the other. So to do that, what we're gonna do is just figure out the ratio here. So it looks like it's kind of in thirds. So if we come all the way down, the pivot point on this actually wants to come out below where those are tucked in, right? So the pivot point would ideally be, right here at this corner. Okay, so we're coming up a little bit from there, and if we take a look at the next step, this is going to come down to this, where this lower level is, okay? So in thirds, so you take this lower level here, this small, when I say lower level, I mean this line right here. And we're essentially creating thirds from this line to the top. So we're going to split it in exactly thirds. So when you fold this down, you should have an equal distance from this bottom ledge up to the middle here, and then from here up to the top. So just kind of eyeball it, get that approximately in thirds, and then right where that tip is, fold it down and check to see that it's landing on this curve. Now mine, I have to go up a little bit because it's actually squishing my little tip in here. So I'm going to go up just a tiny bit. I can just slide it with my finger up and then fold it back down again, and it will come right down to that to that bottom line, just like that. Okay, so watch when I open it up. Mine is actually still going a little bit over, but I'm gonna be okay with that. So sometimes it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. So that completes step number 37. And in step 38, now what we're doing is folding it over. And as you can see, this is going all the way down to this corner here. And it's kind of arbitrarily going in the middle, between the middle point and over here, right in the middle. So we can kind of just arbitrarily create this. There's no solid reference of where that is going to go, so it's kind of up to interpretation. But the key point is that it is going down over to the far right and the far left. Just like that. How does that look? That's step 38. So now step 39, we're going to open it up. Open it up. Now what's happening here is the paper is being reverse folded into place. However, there's a little bit of an additional fold. So you're going to see here in the diagrams, let me zoom in, that we have a line on ours, just one single line. And as you can see, that line is going through the back, and it's going to go down just as expected. But there's a new fold just below this line on the front layer, and it's going to be a little bit lower than where that is right now. It's going to come down just right about here, and then it's going to come up to the top of where this finished going before. So when I open it up and slide it down, that new line is going to get formed a little bit below. What's going to happen is when it comes down, if we look at the next step here, because it always helps to look at the next step. Okay, you can see what's happening here. So in this case, the whole paper is going, oops, hold on a second. All right, I lost my place here. All right, let's zoom in. So we are on step 39, and what's happening is that this is folding over. So this is still a valley fold. Okay, so it's a valley fold here. Let me get my tweezers out. So this line that I just made with pencil, that's a valley fold. Okay, and this behind it is also a valley fold. So what's going to happen is that this valley fold, it's basically one big swivel. So you're taking it here and kind of swiveling it over to the right. See how that's happening? So swivel it. And what you can do is with that line that we have there, that's going to be a valley fold. Just make sure that that's below where we were. What's going to happen is when you pivot it over to the right like that, so the top is going to have the same pivot point. You're just kind of opening the paper up. What's going to happen is that this edge here is going to line up with this edge when it comes down all the way. So mine just naturally did that. Let me zoom in here. You can see how that's right parallel once you fold that down. It'll line up right there with the edge. So let's undo that. You can see how that line is coming into place. It's a swivel fold down, and they didn't write that in the instructions, but that's what a swivel fold is. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And it's going to help because here's that existing line. We don't want to use that. We want to create a new reference. So I'm just going to kind of pop it in there on both layers. I'm going to kind of force it in there. I'm going to open it back up. Get my paper to come down all the way. As you can see, mine is coming in. Just like that. And that is a tricky step. I will say that's a tricky one. So you want to keep these at the same spot. Get those to go in, just like that. Okay, so now we are on step 40. And in step 40, all we're doing is taking these little corners right here and folding them over to the right so they go up. So I'm going to do that on the right and on the left. Yeah, they go up now. Just like that. And now on here, we're basically, it looks like a reverse fold, okay? But what it really is kind of like a squash reverse fold. So this is going to come back down to where we were, and it's going to basically open up, like it's going to be 3D, so it's going to be up on top. And then you're going to open up that little pocket and squash it down. See, I'm squashing it down, creating a little shape like that. That's all we're doing here. So this is going to fold over to the right. Same thing, squash it down. Just like that. Okay, that's complete step number 41. And as you can see in step 42, it shows the final result. All right, so we are at a great pausing point here. As you can see, we just did the eyes. Maybe you can't see, but those become the eyes that we're doing right now. So we're definitely in the middle of the head here, and then we will continue the ears and everything else on Saturday. All right. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Please share the word about these live origami sessions if you could. I know it's hard sometimes to get everybody to fold together, but I love the company. So thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate it. A lot of the people that are watching these are watching them after they are live. So people are folding these later. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please help spread the word. 皆さんありがとうございます。見てくれてありがとうございます。また土曜日またおりましょう。土曜日5時から。That's in the evening, 夜. So I will see everybody at 5 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. Have a good day. Bye, everybody. Okay.